Wir sind wieder zurück auf der gamescom 2017, hatten gerade Charles Martinet, die Stimme von Super Mario und vielen anderen Charakteren und auch Skyrim anscheinend hier auf der Bühne, aber ich habe neue Gäste hier auf der Couch und wir werden ein bisschen über Indie-Games quatschen, denn ich habe Mike von Devolver und Veron von Good Shepherd hier. So I just introduce you for the people that just understand German. I hope now they're okay because I'm just gonna talk in English now.
Perfect. It would be helpful.
I briefly introduced you, but can you introduce yourselves first a little bit so you know exactly who you are?
Sure. My name is Mike Wilson. I'm one of 5 co-founders of Devolver Digital, based in Austin, Texas, and now becoming a global team. And I'm also part of this new team, Good Shepherd, which is a very similarly pro-artist, pro-indie styled label that Devolver helped to start.
And you?
So I'm Veron Vrolijk. I'm the marketing manager for Good Shepherd Entertainment. I've been working with Mike through the previously named Ambitious for around 4 to 5 years. And yeah, it's been a ride.
Before the interview, Mike, I was thinking, what are we going to ask? If I have you here, and especially as someone that has been doing with indie games so much and some specific games, I have one question in the beginning, especially for you.
Okay.
Why?
I ask myself this almost every day. No. I mean, what do you mean, why? It's like...
Just why?
Why indie games? Why? You know, I don't know. I'm not an artist and I'm not a programmer. So for me, somehow I ended up being a business person, but I love working with artists. And indie games, I can't imagine a more exciting area to be in as far as someone that gets to work with artists. And I've been in the business now for like 22 years or something, and I've been lucky enough to work with some of the best indies throughout that time. And, you know, we like to think we're contributing our part to the culture just by leading the way on business people not having to be douchebags.
Yeah, you have over the years amassed quite a diverse portfolio in games, so they're very different, not always the same genre, but always with some spark of innovation there. When you started out, of course, you had hits like Hotline Miami and other stuff there under your wings. How does it work nowadays? Are people coming to you and say, hey, we have this great idea, we heard you're good people here, so hear us out? Does it work like this?
Yeah, initially, you know, we started off as Devolver. All we had was Pro Team and our old friends from 2 companies ago with Serious Sam, and that gave us our start. And then we started experimenting with this new wave of indies right as it was starting. We had them doing some Serious Sam indie games, and at that time we reached out to some teams that had impressed us with some free games that had been released online. You know, little 1- and 2-person teams. And we gave them the Serious Sam IP and let them riff on that. And we got a little bit addicted to working with these really small teams and how quickly they could adjust and how creative they could be with these smaller budgets and quicker cycles. And one of those teams was Vlambeer, who made one of the goofier Serious Sam games for us. And they introduced us to these Swedish guys, Denaton, that made Hotline Miami. And for a while it was just like that, like these teams kept introducing us to the next team. And now we're in a very lucky position at Devolver, and Good Shepherd as well is starting to get there, where we get a lot of indie submissions every week. You know, I think we get like 25 real games submitted a week, and that's part of why Devolver invested in Gambitious, which is now Good Shepherd, was to enable us to be able to say yes to more of these teams, because there's just so many great projects out there that deserve a chance. You know, they deserve some help and some money and some guidance. And so yeah, it's a wonderful time to be in the business, and we're just so grateful and humbled that we've had this great ride at Devolver and not really had to change anything about the way we do business.
For the creative people out there, can you give them any hints what is the best way to approach you? Of course, easiest would be I get your email and then I'm going to write you my great idea. I have absolutely no experience in making games. I can't program, I can't draw anything. I can do stickman, but I have this great game in my mind with flying cats that are robbing banks. So where's my money?
Yeah,
that's not a good way.
Pitch. If you've got that great idea, but you don't know how to make the game, you need to surround yourself with people who do, who believe in your vision. We've gotten a little bit spoiled because developers now have access to tools to be able to make demos for free. They have access to game engines that used to be cost prohibitive, and now they could get Unreal for free, or they can get Unity for free, or Game Maker for $100 or whatever. And so now, almost always when we get pitched a game, we've got something we can already play. Where in the old days, it was very much like just an idea, and you really had to believe, in the team. So yeah, again, just another wonderful thing that so many people can find out if that great idea really is so great, even before they're out pitching, for money.
Yeah, if I see a game where flying cats are robbing banks, you heard it out there. It's mine. Copyright. I'm drawing it in the air, so it's mine. That's how it works.
Perfect.
So, let's talk about Good Shepherd a bit, and then of course of all the other games you have here on Gamescom.
Sure.
What kind of games do you specifically work at Good Shepherd? Is it some special kind of games, or are you just having a different brand where you want to say these kind of games are for this?
Neither brand really has a genre that we specialize in. We look at all sorts of pitches, and just looking for something unique, some reason for this game to exist. Devolver is a little bit, has a longer history, and so we can take chances on a few bigger games in addition to the smaller ones. Gambitious, which has just turned into Good Shepherd like a week ago, is now, sort of ramping up as well, but both companies really like to focus on the small teams that really need the help, really need the money and the guidance. And yeah, everybody seems to have an idea about what a Devolver game is, but we don't.
Vernon, let's talk specifically about specific games.
Yes.
Now here I had the opportunity to watch some games of Devolver at least, backstage, but one I wanted to take a look at is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about it.
So Where the Water Tastes Like Wine is basically the first game that we're premiering under the new Good Shepherd label. It's from Yadaman, is with one of the main guys that made Gone Home. So after they made Gone Home, and Gone Home blew up and became this massive success, he basically left the company because he wanted to start his own studio to make this specific game. And he's been working on it for over 3 years. So out of everything that I've had the pleasure to work on, this is probably one of the most unique visions of something that's gorgeous, that is artistic, that has a message, and that stands on its own. In my mind, if the argument of our game's art is still relevant, which I don't think it is, but if it is, anybody sees 2 minutes of this and they still say no, they're crazy. Because this is interactive art. And what's amazing about this game is what it does with storytelling. Where most games, the storytelling is what you wrap the gameplay around, right? It's this thing that you have to do. You have to tell a story around the gameplay mechanics that you have. In this game, the storytelling is the gameplay mechanic. Like you go around the world, you go around the country, and you speak to different people. And in speaking to them, you gather their stories. So they will tell you about their life, they will tell you about who they are. And you use those stories basically as your cards, which you see the wolf has in his hands. And then you need to match these stories with people that you meet. And if you can tell them the right story at the right time in their life, you're able to unlock their true self. They will show you who they really are. And those are the most powerful stories in the game. So think of it as currency, right? Like,
all right.
It's the stories are the currency. So if you're able to unlock the true self, you get the strongest currency in the game. And that means you're able to kind of progress faster and unlock more stories. So it's a combination between amazing writers in the industry. Each writer is writing their own character. So it's not like it's one person writing the game. It's the same thing with the music. It's one composer, but with different artists coming in and lending their unique style. So you have blues and jazz and grassroots. This is an amazing soundtrack, and yeah, it's just a game of true artistical expression, basically, and basically it's about the American dream.
As you said, so a game, yeah, you're getting applause. That's very nice.
It was a great answer. I was super excited about my answer too. Thanks.
Either that or the Cologne soccer team just won.
Either way, I'll take it.
Take it. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Take what you can get here. Having games that are based on narrative, that's of course a thing that a couple of years ago wasn't so common. Yeah. Some people say, "Oh, it's just a game where I'm walking around and looking at stuff or something. What's this?" But they're a bit more common, and you said this has some different things to differentiate of all the narrative games that are around here now.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's not just about, I think Telltale was a great innovator in this field, right? It kind of showed us what they can do with storytelling. But even the Telltale games is still very much about making choices. Like, you're giving dialogue choices. Like, that's the extent of your interaction with the story. And depending on what you choose, the story changes. But you don't really, like, the story itself, it's not, it's not the currency of the game, right? It's not only about the story. It's there are gameplay progressions that you need to go through to finish. And here, it is all about the story. And it's not just about making a choice, but it's literally about making the choice of someone else's story within another story. So it really deepens up the storytelling in a game that, at least as far as I'm aware, no one's ever tried.
How far along are you with it? Can I take it with me? Where's my download code? So,
well, it's in our booth. If you want to drop by and get a beer and play some games. But it's pretty far along.
Should mention another really cool thing about that game is all of the key characters you're meeting in the game that are the key to the game itself are 16 different writers.
Yeah.
So each character you meet will feel really, truly like a different character in a different story. So I think that's it's a huge accomplishment for an indie developer to pull all of that together. And these are not just 16 writers; these are 16 like fantastic game writers.
Each character has their own music, so each character has been scored specifically for that character. And if you meet them through different moments of their life, their music changes according to how they feel, like what's going on in their existence, basically. So yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's pretty close though. It's coming early next year.
Yeah, early 2018.
Okay, I have to plan to take some time out of the schedule.
Yeah.
It's worth your while. Many travels and bus rides, so where you can play again should be good then. You have under Good Shepherd. Should it be another game that's here in Gamescom? The Phantom Doctrine.
Yes.
Right. I was at your booth backstage, tried a couple of games out. I heard, but the most popular one here in Germany has been the Phantom Doctrine. Let me take a look if I can find some footage here so we can show.
So this is the live-action gameplay, the live-action trailer.
It's a live-action trailer, but it's a bit different.
It's a little bit violent.
We don't mind.
All right.
It's totally okay.
Awesome. Love
so yeah, tell me a bit about the Phantom Doctrine. While we're watching people on the beach.
Yes.
Well, for now.
Yeah, the Phantom Doctrine is another very deep story-based game. It's a sort of a tactical spy game, sort of in the XCOM style strategy game. And it's made by some very experienced people in that genre. Creative Forge out of Warsaw, who brought us Hard West, which is one of the most loved titles from Gambitious. And this is a much more ambitious game. It's 4 or 5 times the size of that game. So they're very excited to raise their game, and we believe in them very much. We just announced this game a couple of days ago. And this live-action trailer is the way we introduced sort of the vibe of the story. And
it's quite a thing to say nowadays. It's you have to build the sets. You can't just render them or something. So you have to have quite good hopes for the game to do such an effort.
I mean, it's the biggest game we've ever done. It's the one that we're definitely leaning so heavily on, and because it's a team that, as Mike said, has delivered Hard West, which is just an amazing game. And when they came to us and they're like, "Hey, we have this idea for a game. It's 5 times the size of Hard West, and it's basically like XCOM in the Cold War." But with interactive investigation elements. And you're like, where do we sign? Like,
yeah, and it's funny, those guys, they speak about Hard West like in terms of all the things they couldn't accomplish, and we're like, the game was fantastic, you know, but they're really ready to step it to the next level. So very excited for this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the time once the interview is finished just to finish up the trailer.
Sure.
Watch it now, and then I'm gonna hopefully get some time to take a look at the booth.
Yeah.
We have a couple of more minutes left. Of course, there was also Devolver titles here coming out on the Devolver. I was
so many big games coming out from Devolver between now and the end of the year.
Let me see if I can find some footage for Crossing Souls, which is the game I just saw and was really impressed with it because it's about my childhood, especially. Can you talk a little bit about it, and I'm gonna find some footage?
Yeah, this is a game from a Spanish developer called Vrolijk, and it's another indie team. It's been an incredible journey to get the game to this point. It's been with us for a while, and we're so very proud of where they've brought the game to. Because I don't know, it started off a simpler thing, you know, and they've given it time to really evolve. They've taken feedback, and I think people are going to be blown away at the level of production on this little indie game, and it's, you know, obviously based in the nostalgia of all of our childhoods.
Yeah, it sounded especially something. We talked to the developers back there, and they said they started about 2.5 years ago, had no idea how to make a game, but had this idea. And what they presented now, with this animated cutscenes, a story like in Goonies, in Stranger Things, kind of there, which feeds into this nostalgia back there. But was it here? We see a little bit how the games look, very beautiful pixel style stuff, and I wanted to say it again, music by Time Cop 1983, best synthwave artist I've ever heard. So it's my favorite of all time. It's great. It's making music here. That's why he didn't make a new album. No.
We're sorry.
I don't mind. I'll buy the game. I'll buy the record. So it should be okay. But that's just an example, of course. What kind of titles are out there? What sort of Ditto you had over there also?
I'm sorry.
It was
Swords of Ditto.
Sort of Ditto.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Absolver launching next week. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. That's maybe Devolver's most ambitious title to date. We're very excited about that one. Ruiner is about to come out, another super stylish fighting game. Maybe the most stylish game we've ever put out. It's an incredible lineup, and we didn't really mean for them all to stack up like this, but with Devolver, you know, it's a small company, it's a private company, and we're really take advantage of that and really let these young teams have time to let these games marinate, you know, and let them become what they will become, which is often very different than what was pitched to us 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but it kind of worked out the past years, because you have it feels like you have really constant stream of different games. One takes a bit longer, one is earlier there, but you have always games there for us to play.
Yeah, it's been very fun. You know, especially the last I would say 6 years of Devolver. The first few years were very much like a startup where nobody was getting paid and we all had other jobs, you know. But we stuck with it, and we stuck with the way we've been doing business now since the founders of Devolver also started a company called Gathering of Developers back in 1998. So we've been doing business this same way for the entire time we've been in publishing, and it's amazing for us that this new indie wave just fits so well with the way we've always worked. You know, we've only ever worked with independent developers. But this new wave of the really tiny teams is more exciting than any other time we've been in. You know, it's so much fun, and I think Good Shepherd will have a similar reputation, you know, in another couple of years. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Right, then thank you for your time. It was very enlightening, and I have many new games I want to try out now. We're going to go backstage, and I'm going to pitch again the flying bank robbing cats idea. So I'm not over it yet. But first, Mike, thank you.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Hey, thank you
so much.
Und wir sind bald wieder da. Ein bisschen dauert es noch, aber dann haben wir was zu Marvel vs. Capcom. Ja, geil. Bis gleich.